twin turbo V6 that makes it very smooth. A 3-liter engine, 305 bhp, but most importantly, it's got 700 Nm of torque.
Currently, it's pin drop silence, and look at this.
You hear that? For example, up front, the normal small Toyota logo gets replaced by the huge TOYOTO badging right over here. You have a bucket full of buttons. I just counted, you have 32 proper physical buttons only on this part of the GRS on the inside. The Land Cruiser, or the LC as we all call it, is one of the most respected and in-demand names globally when it comes to a set of wheels announcing your arrival in the premium space. In the Indian market, you have the regular Land Cruiser, and then you have this. This is the GRS, or the GR Sport iteration. It looks even more badass and remains in demand for the right reasons. Yes, the asking price is 2.4 crores ex-showroom, but there's a reason why the VIPs of this world, the bureaucrats or the celebs like you, they want the GR in their garage. Why? I'll tell you why. This is the Toyota diesel that's known worldwide for its reliability, the sound which could be music to the ears of those who are into oil burners, and it's got colossal amount of torque. Twin turbo V6 that makes it very smooth, a 3-liter engine, 305 bhp, but most importantly, it's got 700 Nm of torque, and all that torque comes to you from 1600 RPM. What a gem of a unit. I don't care about the 10-year rule in the Indian market. Even those who purchase will not even think about it, because the kind of torque and smooth delivery that this thing gives you needs to be felt on the inside from a driver's perspective. Of course, it's a heavy SUV, but yet it's super quick. The run from 0 to 100 followed by the driving experience of the diesel engine coming to you guys. But once again, the sound of the motor, if you can get this. Diesels have their own charm. Now, let's go for a spin and tell you more about the engine and the setup from a driver's perspective. And now, the driving part of the Land Cruiser. Driver's perspective, you are seated high up, and the steering requires some bit of effort, but it's not bad at all. Let's get going. 10-speed automatic. There are no paddle shifters, by the way. To take control, you have to flip the gear lever on the right side, and then you have to go through the gears. 10-speed gearbox. At slow speeds, just moving around in a large parking area, getting out of a parking. The gearbox seems to do the job very well. Any which ways, I don't think a typical owner or his or her driver will be driving the LC enthusiastically and will not miss the certain quick upshifts that some of the other arrivals will offer you. The V6 motor is a very essential part of making this a very smooth experience on the inside, be it in start-stop traffic or while gunning it on open roads. Yeah, steering is slightly on the heavier side, but not comparing. You have the rumble coming in of the V6 motor in a good way, no bad way. There is no clutter that's completely absent. Let me just go around this junction, sort of a blind junction. Perfect. And the ride quality is something I want to talk to you about. A fair bit of bad roads over here thanks to the monsoons. The LC seems to just glide over. In terms of drive modes, you have the rotary drive right over here, and you have ample amount of drive modes: the custom, Sport S Plus, Sport S, normal, Eco, and so on. So multiple drive modes. I'll just stick to the normal one for talking to you on the camera. Of course, Sport S Plus is the one I use for the acceleration runs. It brings out all that torque, all that power that you want to accelerate out of a situation or away from slow moving traffic. Of course, when you gun the pedal like this, the engine wakes up, you get pushed into your seat. And this is the only moment when the engine will make itself felt. You get going, you are seated at the back, you can't even hear the engine. That's the kind of insulation it has to offer. Again, more bad roads in Gurugram. The place is notorious for that. It's a shame a city with so much taxes is giving you all this. Anyways, back to the Land Cruiser. Whenever you want to be driving the car and not your driver, weekends or even on daily basis to your office once in a while, yes, the size is massive, but it's a matter of getting used to it. Your outside mirrors, even the inside mirror, everything is XL size, so your view is always in place. Even with a lot of traffic around, that is taken care of. In the D mode, you don't get to see which gear you are in. It's a 10-speed gearbox, but then again, in most cases, it goes about doing its duties in an able manner. The LC is also known for being a monster of the road. Unfortunately, the car has come to us for a day, and I'll be driving it like how normal people or the customer base will do. They won't be going off-roading, but if the need arises, you have ample electronics and driver aids to take care of that. Of course, in the GRS, the altered bumper gives it a better approach angle as compared to the normal Land Cruiser. High-speed manners, that is where the efficiency part also comes into the picture. A customer will not be concerned for that, but the 10-speed gearbox can shock you in the way it can deliver 15 plus kmpl on open roads. That's the kind of economy in offer. Huge fuel tank. The range is 1000 plus. In urban areas, in city conditions, in traffic, expectedly the economy drops to around 8.5, but then it's a diesel and you won't be thinking about that. Lane changing, yes, the roll is there. Most cars in the segment are not meant to be meant for corners or curves. The same cases with the LC. This kind of roll remains, but then it's all about the comfort factor. For example, these sharp, small, hard plastic speed breakers is where the LC says, bring it on, bring it on. You want to power out of a situation, the path throttle response works so well. This is just a path throttle response and it just gets going so easily. Heavy, yes. Aerodynamic, no. But the torque is what matters. Look at this. Just get going. And if you love cars even 10%, that sound will definitely make you smile, send a grin on your face. U-turns and need a bit of understanding. No, that's a good tight turning radius. Yeah, so at traffic conditions, you have a gap, you're at 30, 40, the path throttle response works very well, and that is where the gearbox has no complaints. It's only when you want to go pedal to metal, you want to have manual control is where you want the paddle shifters, but for 95% of usage and customers, they will not be complaining. One more important thing is I had a drive in the second row as well when my team member Shipanshu was driving the LC, and from the second row point of view, you are cocooned in comfort and luxury. The right quality for second row, which is important, is definitely good. Toyota understands that. Globally also, leaders want to be in the second row and they'll be happy with the cushioning, with the feeling of being cocooned. 780 right now, the only thing I can hear is possibly the road noise on the tires. The wind noise is out, the outside world is out, the engine is out. And the seating position matters for a lot of people. Good braking as well. Of course, you also have ADAS into the picture. That's a standard thing on the LC. Toyota's ADAS is known worldwide for the right reasons. That is also offered in the Indian spec model. And yes, it conforms to the latest BS6 2.0 norms. In between, the DPF regeneration came into the picture on the display. That keeps on coming automatically to take care of any unwanted clogging of the filter. So yeah, it does adhere to and meet the latest BS6 norms also. Rush hour traffic, just daily Gurugram things, and you are possibly the biggest thing on the road right now. Yes, this is the widest, longest, tallest thing on the road right now, and you might think that managing such a huge SUV will be a task, but the thing is, this is an LC and people tend to stare at you. They take notice of you and then they themselves try not to get too close or to cut you through a lane, and that takes care of things. If things do get tight, you have this lovely surround view camera which also gives you a virtual view of what's happening under the car, so very useful for your off-roading needs. And you are cocooned in calmness, away from the madness of the outside world. The envious level is superb. Let me roll down the windows to show you what I'm saying. Currently it's pin drop silence, and look at this. You hear that? Let me just show up the windows. This is so nice. So, you as a VIP or a bureaucrat or a celeb, you want to have your peaceful talk on the inside, seated at the back after a long day at work. This thing will ensure that. The LC will ensure that. It might not look luxurious or premium from the outside, but on the inside, it takes care of that. Excuse me on my pings. The team is on the way, so they are pinging the location. So, yeah, cocooned in calmness is what the LC offers you. And I'm seated so higher up, I can literally look at the roofs of all the sedans and hatchbacks. This thing massages your ego like nothing else. Now, this SUV is not about sexy lines or a modern appeal. Land Cruiser over the years still looks like that old school SUV that you and I want in the garage. The Indian market thankfully has two iterations, the normal Land Cruiser, which is also bonkers, and the GRS iteration. Lot of changes visually. Thank you Toyota for that. For example, up front, the normal small Toyota logo gets replaced by the huge TOYOTO badging right over here. You're following traffic, and trust me, in the rear mirrors of other cars, you don't need to honk, no dipper as well, no high beam, nothing, no flasher. They will give you way on the road. That's kind of in-your-face attitude this thing has. Of course, this area is slightly more redesigned. The bumper is slightly up and shorter, giving this a better departure angle as compared to the normal Land Cruiser. Other changes on the side, the 20-inch wheels get replaced by 18 inches. Again, good for your off-roading needs, and because the sidewall is bigger, even the ride is comfortable. Yes, body roll is there, but more on that at a later part. From here on, it's more like the regular Land Cruiser. You have the badging of GR right over here. And at the back, I like the old school design. Again, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, it's not modern, but the way it cuts like a straight part over here is what people want to see in the garage, and nothing else looks like the GR or the Land Cruiser on the road. It's massive, massive. It's very rare for cars to overshadow me. 6 feet tall. I can't even reach the window line of the GR. That's the kind of size it has. And look at this. In most cases, you will be in the biggest possible passenger vehicle on the road. Today morning, rush hour traffic, I think I was in the biggest possible thing. You want a triple XL size vehicle, this is meant for you. However, that also means getting into the cabin is a bit of a task. Thankfully, you have the side steps and you have the grab handles, very useful. On the inside, how does the GR fare and feel? Let's get inside. Yes, getting into the LC is a bit of a task, but that's understandable. It is a tall SUV after all. But once here, you as an owner who's going to be driving the car whenever you want will not be complaining. Like the design on the outside, even a few things on the inside are old school. For example, you have a bucket full of buttons. I just counted, you have 32 proper physical buttons only on this part of the GRS on the inside. Talking of GRS, you have the branding of GR at places on the push button start, which is located ergonomically. You have the branding on the steering wheel and on the seats as well. Again, it's a very wide SUV, so you have your own sort of a place over here. Your peaceful private place on this side. XL size cup holders, wireless charging, place to keep your knickknacks, and look at the clever use of technology and the ideas. This area opens like this for the driver and like this. The space is ample to keep even 1 liter bottles. It is cooled as well. You have the button for activation of the cool box. Seats, of course, they are powered, they are ventilated, and you are seated higher up. The bulges on the bonnet are very useful to understand the size of the vehicle. It's a long bonnet after all, and you are surrounded by materials and panels which seem to last. They will possibly outlast the customer himself. Sorry to say that, but that's the kind of bulletproof Japanese reliability and the interiors that the GR gets into the picture. You are surrounded by soft touch materials everywhere, from the dash to the side panels to the door. Even this area around the panels is soft touch material, so gives you a sense of the premium appeal and the luxury on the inside. However, the GR or the LC is also about the back seat comfort. Most people will be chauffeur driven. That's an important place to be. So let me jump there and tell you more about what the LC from the second row has to offer. At the back of the Land Cruiser GR, the seat cannot slide forward, but definitely I can recline it for that extra comfort like this. I'll take it ahead. Massive XL size armrest. If this is going to be a 4-seater, you will have ample comfort levels in the GR. Even for a tall person, the under thigh support is just about right. The seats also feel comfortable, and physical buttons are also present right over here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a dozen odd touch buttons right over here, including the output or the input for the HDMI option. Screens also come on this part. Sunroof unfortunately is not panoramic, but some of the other rivals will offer you for that airiness on the inside, but I as an owner will not be complaining. The NVH levels, which I'll speak about from the driver's perspective, are so nice. Seated back over here, you don't need to raise your voice at all when you're speaking to the driver or other people or on the phone. That is the kind of installation that the Land Cruiser GR has to offer. Of course, a 4-zone climate control, 1, 2, 3 for proper 4-zone climate control. And in terms of practicality, you have space over here at the back of both the seats, and generous amount of space also in the cup holders. I was expecting this car to come with a factory-fitted sunshade option. That's missing, but of course, people might get that at a later stage. You have AC vents on the roof right over here on both the sides and also on the middle part, so that is not an issue in terms of the indent summer. This is a proper 5-seater. There is no third row at the back, which means the boot is massive for even the longest of weekend trips with a family of 4. Let's check it out. Bonus tip, you can do this for a longer drive experience. Of course, no cup holders, but this area is soft touch. You can open this for a proper 4-seater experience and a proper place to rest your arm. This is the massive boot of the LC. I currently have a large suitcase right over here. I think a couple of more of these can come easily, and then your backpack. So in terms of boot space, no issue at all. However, it just struck me that because the boot is so large, maybe the second row could have been slightly back to give you even more and more space in terms of the legroom on offer. But yeah, a good place to be for your weekend destination needs. You also have a 100-watt charging outlet on this part, and of course the boot is powered. And that brings us to the end of this video. Yes, 2.4 CR ex-showroom before you have the registration, insurance and other things. This is a lot of money for a lot of people, but for the target audience, this sticker price does not matter. Even for states like Karnataka, where the on-road will be 2.8 or 2.9 CR, the asking price will not matter. The VIPs of this world, the bureaucrats, the who's who of the society, the celebs, well, just imagine they're living in mansions and bungalows and houses which are possibly, in terms of price, 20, 30, 40 CR. For them, this sticker price will not matter. What matters is the brand value, the LC name, the important boxes that this particular car will tick for them. And that is why even today, the Land Cruiser remains in demand. Forget it's not a 7-seater, forget there is no petrol or hybrid. The LC is made for an audience, and that audience will definitely not look elsewhere. The GRS, yes,